Monkey 4. I mean, No-Tail also plays Rubik. Topstone plays Rubik mid if they want to. Like, when I look at this draft and like, if you couldn't put, because here you kind of gotta, what you gotta do as T1 is you gotta go by probability. Like, based on the heroes that we have, what matchups do we think OG wants? And that's how you kind of figure out which hero is gonna go where. And in OG's position here, like, they just have the option of picking pretty much whatever they want based on what they want to do.
Oh, I love it. I've been waiting for somebody to pick Slark, and this has all the things. Like, I've always loved Slark
they
Ember
just have the option
as
of
a
picking pretty much
combination,
whatever
just
they want.
because you have so much in and out pressure and map control.
Yeah.
You have a cleanse, which I think is key. Same reason I've always loved Oracle Slark, because if you can just save him for that split second, you're now in a great position to get your own ultimate off. The shard is OP. That's another reason. And you're against a troll. So those axes for mischance are dispellable. Slark's going to be spamming Q. It's also incredible against the Treant, Jakiro. All of the spells of T1 are removable. It used to be Storm was incredible against Slark, but now the Pounce that leashes actually makes you more of an offensive threat to the hero.
Yeah, so you touched on the Purge effect, or the Cleanse effect, sorry.
Supposedly I'm wrong, but I always think like it's a dispel.
Kyle, you are
Purge
never
is
wrong.
I mean,
offensive.
cleanse isn't an actual term in Dota. It just happens to be a nice term
Okay.
that I find.
You're never wrong, Kyle. Don't listen to the chat.
Thank you.
Anyway, Slark is weak to getting initiated on, right? The whole trick is you catch him when he's not ready for it. And when you have a hero like Legion, you have a Cleanse in your draft, that option is suddenly gone. You no longer want to initiate on him because unless you see the Legion commander, the Slark is always going to get purged.
Yep.
And I think this Venge, again, is like, to me, it's a little bit of a weird last pick. It doesn't address the problems that they have. But I do think Vengeful Spirit's a strong hero. And it kind of has the Wraith King effect where it spawns again. And I would really matter. But I think Venge is pretty cool.
It is hard save after all, but I was actually thinking maybe they'd go for something like a Bloodseeker. Like, I feel like we have the same scenario as we did in the first game, where OG, they last pick the win condition and T1 has an answer, they go for the mag. Whereas this case, you go for the Venge. Like, this doesn't answer Slark.
I think this game they can fight though. Like, if OG runs at them, they have the ability to fight back. They have damage, they have spells that are usable to get kills. Like, I think whilst killing Slark is going to be... killing the other four is not necessarily the case. They have a troll lane against Monkey King. See how that goes. Monkey Rubik against, I assume... oh, actually, never mind. Hero 4, right?
Well, specifically with these two, they can play it either way.
Okay,
like they're
so they
very
swap the
comfortable
lanes
in being
around.
able
I
to swap
see.
lanes. So
I see.
which would you rather have the Jakiro as a ranged hero against Monkey King?
So something OG can do that's really cool is they can put Legion Commander with the Monkey King off lane, and then Slark in the safe lane where they have two purges, so Jakiro no longer has a good lane.
I think that's the key, and this is why I believe Kel is playing the LC here, because to AMW, your core in the game. So I think wherever Jakiro goes, find No-Tail in that.
Looking good.
I can see them laning it either way. Like, Rubik Slark also feels a bit weird. And I generally think Slark, because of the way his hero works, he wants to run up and trade with you. Having some sort of sustain that allows you to use Essence Shift is quite important for his laning phase. So,
And one that gives you extra attack speed too. That sounds pretty
not too
sick.
bad. Yeah, not too bad.
Point as well. It's another LC. It's just such a great hero.
Specifically with the heroes being run right now.
Yes.
Tiny. Okay,
Makes
if they're
a lot
going to
of
do
sense.
Slark, that's really good.
Yeah.
Sven has been popular right now. That's
Precisely.
another one.
You talking to me?
Did you happen to see our last series, Secret versus SG?
I caught bits and pieces.
Did you see the, that was the best Ogre Magi Fire Shield I've ever seen in my life.
No, I don't.
Because,
know why.
I mean, have you experimented with
Yeah, I've
Fire
played a little
Shield?
bit of Ogre.
It doesn't really feel like that amazing, right?
I actually think it feels pretty good most of the time. Yeah.
All right, well, my experience has
Yeah.
not been, like, amazing, but
Yeah.
they were specifically played up against Sven Io, Earthshaker Core, Chant Totem,
Told you
and
a
Mars.
storm was coming.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
God damn.
You're reducing a lot of damage.
It was pretty cool to see.
Yeah.
And now I just, you know, like, I always think that I love support experimentation.
Yeah. I think this whole Legion 5, right, it started with Puppy at Hamburg a couple of years back.
Yeah, that was a long time
And
ago.
I think it was a pretty interesting interview that they asked him, like, why are you playing 5? And he just answered, well, all the 5s are just bad. And
Yeah.
why not play a core? And that, I think, opened up this idea of like running a lot more heroes.
I think, yeah, exactly. And you also just don't have to spend as much gold, right? Buy a sentry. Everything else can be spent on yourself. And
Yeah.
else, like, they're really, the support role has kind of changed to just farm creep. But it comes down to what's the best kit. Like, what gives my allies the most support within a game. And LC just, you know, BKB lockdown is really tough to come by. I also wanted to touch on OG's final bans. I thought were really... Don't like the Venge as much as perhaps the Darkseer or Enigma, which were banned out. Because T1, they didn't have that big AoE ultimate finisher. Also, of course, to cover the Slark that's coming. Because an Enigma pick would have actually been real nice, even with already on here.
Yes, I think it's very similar to how Rubik and Jakiro interact. It makes Rubik's game better, but it doesn't necessarily counter Enigma's game. Enigma still does what Enigma wants to do. So whether Rubik is there or not, it doesn't really change anything for that matter. For like whether you should pick it or you can't.
Now, for anybody who's tuning in and maybe doesn't watch a ton of Dota, can you guys break down very simply what are the strengths of T1's lineup and what are they looking for compared to OG?
Okay, so I think T1, in order to win this game, they need to do well in the lanes, and then they need to use the advantage they get in lanes, stop OG from running at them. Because OG is going to hit a timing similar to the last game, where T1 is trying to farm the Vengeful Ags, they're trying to get Storm's items, and they're trying to farm up the Troll. And they need to play kind of like response Dota. And when you end up in that position against OG, I think you generally will struggle. But if you can apply pressure to OG and force OG to fight on your terms, I think that's where they might struggle a bit in this particular game.
Especially a Storm who's ahead, like straight up take over the game. I like this start though. They're looking to tri lane. I think this is a great answer to both an LC support and a Slark. Slark needs levels. You want to trade. You can't do that in a 3-on-3. You just straight up spam with spells.
So they're trying to push in the first wave here to get lane control. If you look at 23 Savage, he's trying to drag the creeps up to connect to the next lane.
Perfect.
Which will make the Treant Protector all the more effective.
Yeah.
It's going to be able to cut off people, get a good Nature's Grasp in. And that just depends on Cuckoo having an okay time, which we saw, like, Faith Beyond, they would do this all the time on LGD when they were running the offlane Venge. They would just kind of throw him to the wolves in the beginning.
Yeah. I think Slark is actually a pretty good hero against most tri-lanes though, especially tri-lanes that don't kill. Because you're going to get a lot of farm. Once you hit level 2 or 3, go on. So as long as you have sustain for the Slark, I think he's going to be able to get quite a lot of CS here in the bottom lane anyway.
Yeah, unfortunately, they control the lane, but they've given up level 2. The one benefit of No-Tail as well, the Q provides easy ways of just killing Archer.
Yeah.
Oh, and they forced the TP from Saksa, and now they just Jakiro back up top, but no lane control there either. Kind of an odd movement from T1, to be honest, but yeah,
I like it. I think it's good. I think that they're throwing off the laning phase. They're not letting it just play out the way OG wants it to. And I think they're making the game weird, which throws off timings, and it gives Storm space mid. And I think they want to play off of the fact that Storm beats Ember in the lane mid, and he's able to get control runes and apply pressure.
Oh, it's really cool, because when they did that rotation, it was also just perfectly timed for Whitemon to get a hard camp pull.
Yeah.
So he immediately gets creepy equilibrium, which was what, Kyle, you said, that was kind of a problem. Now they're going to put some pressure onto Seb, where he was probably wondering, where the hell is my creep wave? And he meets Whitemon, who's now in lane, and they're going to move No-Tail over.
Yep, follows Jakiro.
Yeah, so now suddenly they have a Troll Treant against Slark Rubik, which is a good lane matchup for them. I think what T1 are doing right now is actually very, very intelligent. They're making OG like respond to the way they want to play the game. And now instead of OG applying pressure to them, they're dictating how this game goes.
It's such a cool idea, that the fact that they can... That starting off with an aggro tri-lane resulted in this. That basically OG, they knew they were going to respond in a certain way that they would be able to get an advantage.
I think they probably talked about this as soon as the draft ended. We go tri-lane. If Rubik comes bottom, I go top. We pressure like this. This way we get like our mid laner to come online. And they have like an... It really feels like they're playing with an idea. And I always like seeing that when you see these teams, like for example we said OG, right? They have a lot of different strats. But if T1 feels like they know what they're doing, they might just be the stronger team.
Yeah, again, I was super excited for this matchup because I thought like these were going to be two titans of team fight just smashing against each other. Might be able to get that in this game too.
I think like we did our best to pretend like that last game was close in anybody's game, but realistically, once it was that 15-minute nighttime and OG had total control, like T1 just can't play Dota. This is a very different type of game, and I think we're going to see a much closer one.
Yeah, absolutely. In the first game, I didn't really understand their last pick either, but this time, now that I see the way they've set up their lanes, the way they're trying to approach the game, I think it makes sense to pick this Venge. Venge is like a pretty good hero for this type of playstyle, where they have 3 lanes that they can kill. They have initiation on all 3 lanes. You have Troll with the slow, you have Venge with the stun, and you have Storm with the pull. So they have the option of like making moves on all the lanes.
he knows he's gonna go for the slight steal, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's
Oh,
and
wow.
he's gonna go get the double bounty or the double
Beautiful.
water rune. That is very smart by
tops.
Carl. Let's see if he actually wins through this with the flame guard pulling him back in. He's gonna be able
Oh
to
my
take out
God.
the if he runs into the second remnant, it'll go away. Oh, we missed out on first blood as a result, but this fight is so fun.
That, oh man, that was like a what's the Eastwood movie? The Standoff.
Sumail keeps on going. They actually trade supports, but Sumail has racked up some serious stats. Is going to be able to get the double kill in this lane. So T1 may have gotten the lanes that they thought they wanted, but ultimately lost that bottom one.
Oh, and he had 20 stick too, so he was just full HP flame. That was so cool. They just sat there for 3 seconds.
Both of the players know exactly what's going to happen, and they're like trying to throw off each other's timings. That was beautifully played.
Yeah, and then the fight for top rune where Carl man, so good. If either player blinks, they probably get the kill, maybe straight up win the lane, but nobody did.
Bringing 23 Savage to the top lane. Looks like they no longer want to play out this bottom one with the Sumail getting so big. They're going to try and run down Seb. Seb nicely positions himself to be able to get multiple stuns. They managed to hit him a couple times. He's still bleeding out on damage, but the dual breath didn't hit him, so they have to get a little bit more. Finally, they get the magic missile, and that'll finish him off.
That was just like he mischief dodged the auto attack. That would have, you saw him start the animation of jumping into tree, but got hit just before. That was pretty
That was
nice.
extremely close. I genuinely thought he was going to get up.
I mean, Seb, still impressing. You know, 1 eye, boomer fingers. He's still got it.
They had top 3 net worth there for a moment, so definitely feeling good about their lane.